Good morning. This morning the plan is, I'm sorry about all the cables hanging out, but this morning the plan is we've travelled over to Braithwaite from Keswick and then we're going to head up Causey Pike. Should be quite an interesting climb. We've got to climb up the Burrows first and then we've got to drop down and then we'll make our way up Causey Pike. The idea is we might get some interesting landscape. This morning though, I'm a bit gutted. I decided to have a little bit of a sleep in and I think there was a massive inversion all the way through the valley, and that's what I've been waking up super early for every single day off, just to try and get that inversion. So I'm a bit gutted, but I'm gonna head up now and yeah, take some landscape pictures. Enjoy the journey. So I've made it to the top of the Burrows and the view is absolutely amazing, like it really is. But this isn't where the walk finishes. The idea is I'm going to go all the way to the top of there. So the route I've got to take is I'm going to go back down the other side and then I'm going to walk all the way around through this little valley and then up and around and walk across the ridge line all the way to the top. And then to come back down at the end of the walk, I'm going to come down the ridge line here, zigzag down this little path, and then back down and walk all the way back around to Keswick. I'm not going to get the bus back, I'm not going to be lazy. But I think I'm going to go for my first composition here, because the contrast between the green and the rock on the side of this mountain is just fabulous. And there's a lovely curving line going all the way through, but I'm not going to take it from here. I'm going to drop down into the valley a little bit further. I think I'm going to go up to this little mound here on the edge. I'm going to set my camera up and I'll talk through the settings I'm going to take and what I'm going to do with my image. But I think this is going to be the first shot of today. I'm very excited about it. Better light would have been nice, sunset would have been beautiful, but for a midday shoot, I think the contrast is there to all the colours that are in the ground. But I'm going to wander down there, I'm going to go and get set up, and then I'll talk you through what I'm doing.
Here's the game plan.
Right, so I've got my composition all set up. Like I said, I was going for pretty much what I explained already. So what I'm doing is I'm using this little path here to take you in as a leading line, and then the main focal point is the mountain just up here, the big mountain with all the green and the rocks. It looks absolutely phenomenal. A bit of light on the mountain, giving it some shadows would be lovely, but the light's very flat today, so I'm doing the best with what I can do with what I've got. For my setup, I've got my polarizer on, I've got my Nikon 18-200 and I've got my Nikon body. Now the settings I'm going for on this shot, I'm going for a nice simple f/16, so it should give me nice sharpness from front to back, well as sharp as this camera will go. ISO 100, there's good, well, decent light, so I can blanket that right down. And then what I'm also going to do is I've dropped my exposure down to 1/8 of a second. If it was in the center mark, it would be on 1/4 of a second, but it's just not contrasty enough. So the reason why I've dropped it down so far is so that the shadows are really shadows and the brights are really brights, and also to try and give a little bit more in the clouds. Because I've got my polarizer on, what's happening is it's cutting through a lot of the glare in the clouds anyway and giving it that little bit more detail, making it a little bit more punchy. But because it's such a flat light, I've had to mess around with it to try and bring a little bit more out. Anyway, enough waffling on. I'm going to put it on my 2-second timer. I've got it all focused in, and I'm going to fire it off now. And oh, it looks lovely. and you should see that on your screen now. So I actually went for something slightly different there. I took another shot, and what I did is I put myself in the image. So a bit of a self-portrait. You never know, it might turn out all right. But the reason why I put myself in the image is to give it a little bit more interest, because the clouds aren't amazing, because the landscape doesn't have any dramatic light on it. I felt like it needed something else, something more punchy, something to give it that oomph, that interest. So I decided to go put it on a 10-second timer and film myself, well, take a picture of myself in the shot. And if it's worked out, you'll see this footage and you'll see the image, but if it hasn't, then you won't see it. But if it has worked out, the image will be coming up on your screen now. So I'm about up at the summit now. Beautiful, absolutely incredible landscape. Like, it's just absolutely stunning. And you can see just behind me, the sun's dropping below this blanket of cloud, and it's really starting to light up different parts of the cloud. It's still a long way off now for sunset. At the moment it's only 2:33, but I think I'm at the highest point now. Now I just need to get over a little bit further and make my way to these knobbly bits. And then hopefully I'll be able to see over Derwent's Water, shoot down over Keswick and get a really nice composition. But I'm looking at maybe from the top of the knobbly bit, shooting back through the valley and getting these black mountains in the background with these clouds just getting all lit up by that bit of sun. So I'm going to keep on walking a bit further, but I have a feeling I've got a couple of nice shots coming. I hope you've enjoyed the walk so far. Tell you what, it is beautiful up here. Again, if you've never visited the Lake District, never gone walking in the Lake District, they're not hard walks. They'll get you out of breath, but they're not hard walks. Definitely worth a visit, definitely worth a visit. But I hope you're enjoying it so far. So now I've made it to the summit, it is time to get some warm clothes on. As you can imagine, after a long walk like that, you do get a bit sweaty. So it's always best to have some extra layers with you, because once you get up here, your core temperature will drop. It will drop suddenly. So it's time to get some warm clothes on. I'm going to try a little effect that I watched on a Peter McInnes video. And I hope it works out, otherwise I'm going to look like an idiot. But no one else is here to see it other than you guys. So bear with me, this might look funny, but I'm going to try it. Ta-da! So now that I'm all warm and ready to go, my idea originally today was to walk up this one, Graysdale Pike. But I decided last minute to come up to Causey Pike. Causey Pike? I think that's the name. But I'm looking over in the distance, and you definitely won't be able to see this on the GoPro, but I'm looking over in the distance and there is a huge inversion all the way through the valley on the other side, and there's mountains poking out, and it would have been incredible. But unfortunately, I decided to change my mind. But I'm still pretty happy with it. So I've got my first composition in mind. What I'm going to go for this shot, I'm going to use this river down in the bottom of this valley, coming up this way. I'm going to use that as a leading line. I'm going to use this mountain on the side over here as a leading line, and I'm going to use this whole entire crag on the right to guide your eye around. So there's going to be lots of things taking you into this image. The image I'm shooting towards, it's not really all that amazing really, but it's the whole range. And there's nothing that's going to stand out as such. It's going to look pretty magnificent just because of the grandeur of it all, but it's not going to really have anything that kind of stands out. But what I do have coming through just underneath the clouds at the back, you'll see, is a nice yellow glow. A really nice yellow glow coming over the top of the mountains. And I'm hoping that's going to pull it all together and make it into something special. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my camera set up and I'm going to get this image. So I've got everything all set up now. What I'm going for, I've got my Sigma 10-20 on, and I've pretty much got it on 10mm, which works out to be about 15-16mm because of the crop frame sensor. I've got my polarizer on the front, and I'm obviously using my only body and my Nikon body, but I've got my composition all lined up. It's just like what I was talking about before, but I did end up going a bit wider, so I'm including this mountain over here, and I'm using this whole ridge line in the middle to guide you in to them funky clouds. The reason I've put my polarizer on, I am pretty much shooting towards the sun, so it's not doing a lot, but it is bringing out that little bit more detail in the sky, which is going to really bring the picture together. I don't think this is going to be a warm image. I think it's going to be quite a cold, dramatic and shady image. So the settings I've got it on f16. So everything should be in focus as best as my camera can do. I've got it on ISO 200, and that's because the light's dropping a little bit. So what can happen is, if you don't have your sensor a little bit more sensitive, what can happen is the colours can go a little bit, they can fade a little bit. So I've bumped my ISO up so I can punch them colours back out. And then what I've got it on at 1/6 of a second and everything else. And I'm going to put it on a 2-second timer, and that's going to make sure that my camera is not shaking when I take the image, and I'm going to fire it off now. So that is looking dramatic. The shadows are quite dark though, so I think I'm going to take another one. I'm going to bracket the image and I'm going to bump it up to 1/3 of a second. And I'm going to fire that one off as well. Now when I put these two images together, I'm going to make a composite. Okay, so I'm going to get the dark skies and I'm going to get the bright coloured foreground, okay? So the image can really stand out all the way through, because that looked much better on the foreground. Much better. But I'm going to wait for a little bit longer, and I'm going to see if anything does happen with the clouds. I think I might need to put more layers on because that breeze is picking up and it is cold. But yeah, I'll have a little wander around, see if I can find anything else, so stay tuned. So I've decided I'm going to go for one more shot up here before I start heading down, because obviously it's starting to get dark and I don't want to be up here at night. What I'm going for is I'm going to go for a panoramic of the whole of the basin near Derwent Water and Keswick, and I'm going to shoot across all the mountains. So I'm going to have Skiddaw, I'm going to have Falcon Crag, Waller Crag, I'm going to have the Borrows, I'm going to have the Cat Bells, and it's all going to be in this shot, and Keswick's going to be in this shot as well. So it's going to be probably about a 5 or 6 shot stitch, due to the fact I've got my ultra wide angle on. I'm going to go portrait because I really want to get the foreground leading all the way through the shot, so Skiddaw is not going to be all the way like with miles of sky above it. It's going to be up in the top third. So it's going to be all about the foreground, because as you can probably tell from around me, the light's not great. But what I have got is I've got a gap in the light, the gap in the clouds over here, and it's lighting up all of the mountains over there. So what's going to happen is it's going to give it some extra bit of glow, and it's going to give the image a little bit more than this flat colour that I've got right now. Not the best day off, not going to lie, not the best day off, but I think I have got a couple of nice shots, and it's always nice to film another one of these vlogs for you guys at home. So I'm going to get all ready, I'm going to get my shots, and I'm going to get going. Okay. I think that's probably going to be my favourite shot of the day. It's just got so much guiding you in, and there's so much going on, and it's just a lovely, not simple, not a Thomas Heaton shot, but it is a beautiful shot. And I do want to come up here one morning very early to capture this, but I'm gonna have to wait until I can drive, unless any of you guys out there live in the local area and would like to come up here as well and would like to be my wheels and also a buddy. That'd be great. But I think that is it for the vlog. I'm gonna head off home and I'm gonna walk down hopefully before it gets to night. But if not, thank you for watching, and give us a subscribe, a thumbs up, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one, and I'll leave you to watch the final picture. Thanks.